Stay right there. Don't adjust your breath. Don't look over your shoulder. Just listen, because what I'm about to tell you changes the temperature of your entire bloodline. You feel that, don't you? That little tremor under your ribs, the one you pretend is nothing? That's the air tightening around your name. A government suit just flagged your family, and the streets are whispering like an arrest warrant is cracking its knuckles in the dark. Everyone's pacing, scrolling, speculating, except you. You're standing there with that unnerving stillness, that angel-demon composure they can't interpret, the kind that looks like you've been waiting for this moment. And that is what scares them more than the sirens, because deep down, they know you're not the type to get crushed by pressure. You're the type to mutate in it. Evolve, sharpen, harden like metal meeting God's disappointment. Oh, they're sweating bullets in group chats right now. Did you hear? Someone in their family got flagged. Arrest might be hours away. Bro, what if they're dangerous? They don't realize you already became the danger. Isn't it funny? They're panicking as if you didn't spend years learning to smile inside collapsing rooms, as if you didn't master the art of suffering without making a sound, as if you didn't become the kind of creature who can smell betrayal before it forms a thought. They think you're cornered, but you're calculating, rearranging, watching their reactions the same way a surgeon watches a pulse monitor. Calm, focused, almost amused, because the trap wasn't around you, the trap was around them. They just didn't realize you built it. See, there are two types of people in a crisis: the ones who crumble into prayer, and the ones who become the prayer. And you're the paradox they can't categorize. Saint to the innocent, psychopath to the wicked, angel when you choose mercy, demon when you don't. That duality makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability makes you untouchable. Let them talk, let them speculate, let them think the feds are hours away from knocking, let them imagine your world falling apart. They don't understand. You've lived through worse. You've walked through hell with nothing but instinct, and came back with vision. You know what pressure does to you? It doesn't break you, it reveals you, shows your real wiring. And anyone watching closely is about to witness a transformation they'll regret underestimating. The government suit flagged your family. Good. Let the world think you're being watched. Let them assume fear has you shaking. But you're not scared. You're awake, sharpened, aligned with every shadow that once tried to swallow you. You don't run from darkness anymore. You use it. Right now, someone out there is hoping you fold. Someone is praying this pressure smothers you. Someone wants to see you collapse under the weight of consequences that don't even belong to you. But here's the twist they never saw coming. You don't collapse. You don't retreat. You rise, like a verdict delivered by a cosmic judge with no interest in mercy. They're expecting panic. What they're about to witness is rebirth. Because people like you don't get broken by investigations. People like you become legends through them. So let the sirens whisper. Let the suits watch. Let the rumors spread like wildfire in a drought. They have no idea you're already 10 steps ahead, rewriting your fate with the same hands they tried to cuff. Smile. Not because you're reckless, but because you know something they don't. No matter who they flag, no matter who they warn, no matter who they try to intimidate, you are the storm they cannot contain. And when the dust settles, everyone who doubted you will speak your name with fear, fascination, and a regret so deep it echoes. Now go. Keep that stillness. Keep that smile. Keep that terrifying calm that makes the whole street hold its breath. Because whether they love you, fear you, or misunderstand you, one truth remains. They're not ready for someone built like you. You feel that shift in the air again, don't you? That slow, creeping static, like reality itself is holding its breath around you. Good. Because the moment they flagged your family, the entire city started leaning in, hungry for a scandal, thirsty for a downfall, praying for a collapse. But you didn't flinch, you didn't tremble, you didn't even blink. And that's when the real fear started spreading. They don't fear the sirens, they don't fear the badges, they don't fear the agencies whispering behind tinted glass. They fear you, the one person who doesn't fall apart when the world starts arranging consequences. You stand there like a contradiction wrapped in skin, an angel with hell in your lungs, a demon with mercy in your veins, a prophet with a past that should have buried you, and a future that terrifies everyone watching. That duality is illegal in their little minds. It breaks their categories. It ruins their labels. It exposes their weakness. You didn't just survive the shadows. You learned to navigate them. You became fluent in darkness the way others learn languages. And now, with a single flag, a single alert, a single whisper from a government suit, they think the story ends. No, this is where the story grows fangs. Because while they're pacing, sweating, imagining flashing lights outside your door, you're not begging for a break. You're not scrambling to hide. You're observing, studying, watching the entire ecosystem panic around your silence. Your stillness is a weapon they don't understand. It's surgical, strategic, designed to make their nerves collapse under their own imagination. And oh, they are spiraling. Their group chats, exploding. Her cousin's cousin heard something. His neighbor saw an unmarked car. Somebody's friend works at an office and claims your family is being monitored. Everybody suddenly has intel. Everybody's suddenly an expert. Everybody suddenly thinks your downfall is entertainment. But here's the cosmic joke. They don't realize you've made an art out of being underestimated. You, the quiet storm, the patient executioner, the mind they tried to belittle until they realized belittling you only gave you more surface area to sharpen yourself against. They don't remember what they've seen you do, but you do. You remember every scar like a chapter in a sacred manuscript. You remember the nights you suffocated on silence, the mornings you carried grief like an iron armor, the days your name got dragged by cowards who couldn't survive 5 minutes in your reality. You remember betrayal, humiliation, abandonment, and how each one upgraded you instead of breaking you. That's why you're calm now. Because this moment, this flag, this alert, this investigation, they're so desperate to sensationalize. It's not a punishment. It's a reveal of who you are when life tightens the screws. And the truth is horrifying. Pressure doesn't collapse you. Pressure awakens you. Right now, you're shifting subtly, quietly, in ways only ancient predators and old gods would understand. You're accessing the version of yourself that doesn't react emotionally, but responds surgically. They don't know what it means when someone like you goes silent, when someone like you stops explaining, when someone like you simply watches. Because the last time you leveled up under pressure, someone else's reputation disintegrated. Someone else's life got rearranged. Someone else's lies turned to ash. And the streets remember that. That's why they're whispering your name like a spell. That's why they think an arrest is hours away. Not because they believe you're guilty, but because they know you're powerful enough to make anyone look guilty by comparison. The government suit flagged your family. Let them. Let them glare at screens. Let them monitor movement. Let them assign agents, analysts, interns, watchers. None of them understand the one fundamental truth you keep tucked beneath your breath. When they watch you watch them back, and you always see more, because you were never the villain they fear. You were never the saint they hoped for. You were never the pawn they wanted. You're the anomaly. You're the glitch, the paradox, the unbreakable variable, the ungovernable soul, the storm disguised as a human being. And storms don't panic when the sky goes dark. Storms begin when the sky goes dark. So let them track you. Let them whisper. Let them build entire fantasies about your collapse. Because what's really coming is not an arrest, but a reckoning. A moment when every single person who tried to analyze you realizes they miscalculated a creature who doesn't bend under pressure, but evolves through it. Keep standing tall. Keep breathing slow. Keep letting their fear thicken the air. Because sooner or later, everyone watching will understand the same chilling truth. The government didn't flag your family. Fate just flagged you as the one they'll never be able to silence, control, predict, or break. And when the dust settles, they won't be asking whether you survived it. They'll be whispering how you walked through the fire with a calm smile and walked out with a power none of them were prepared for. You're still here, unshaken, unbothered, unmoved by the storm they swear is about to swallow you whole. Good, because the real story hasn't even started yet. Take a breath, slow, controlled, sovereign. Feel how the air around you thickens when you inhale. That's not fear. That's presence. Your presence. The kind that bends tension into obedience. See, when they flagged your family, they expected chaos. They expected trembling. They expected the kind of panic that makes people fold into themselves like broken origami. But you became even more focused, even more sharpened, even more dangerously calm. And that calm is suffocating the whole neighborhood. Right now, someone is peeking through blinds. Someone is replaying old conversations with you. Someone is thinking, did they know something? Did they do something? Did we misjudge them? And the answer is yes. They misjudged you from the very beginning. They forgot you were built from contradictions. Fire in one hand, water in the other. Love that can heal nations. Anger that can flatten egos. A mind that can decode lies. A soul that can resurrect after devastation. They thought you were simple, predictable, explainable. But when pressure hit, their simple became terrifying. Their predictable became unreadable. Their explainable became a phenomenon. You stand here like you've seen the seasons of your own downfall and survived every winter with a grin. Your calm, oh, it's driving them insane. They don't understand how someone flagged by authorities moves like a god studying insects. Let them watch. Let them analyze your silence. Let them think they're closing in. Because what they don't know is that you've already calculated the entire board. You've already anticipated every outcome. You've already prepared every escape route, every angle, every psychological lever. You've been preparing for storms long before this one. After all, this isn't the first time the world tried to break you. You remember the nights where your own breath felt weaponized against you, where your heartbeat was louder than your thoughts, where people you trusted turned into spectators, and people you feared turned into reminders. But guess what? You didn't die. You didn't disappear. You didn't shatter the way they prayed you would. You transformed, piece by piece, scar by scar, pain by pain. You rebuilt yourself into something that doesn't crumble when it's cornered. It clarifies. That's why you're so calm now. Not because you're fearless, but because you learned that fear is just adrenaline with a costume on. And adrenaline? Oh, you drink that like morning coffee. Make no mistake. There's someone out there right now shaking with excitement at the thought of your downfall. Someone replaying the rumors like comfort food. Someone scrolling for updates, hoping the worst happens. But that's the beautiful thing about pain. You turned it into patience. You turned wounds into weapons. You turned silence into strategy. While they gossip, you breathe. While they speculate, you observe. While they crumble, you rise. Do you know how dangerous that makes you? Your mind under pressure is a locked room full of blueprints. Your soul under pressure is a forge glowing white hot. Your decisions under pressure are scalpel precise, and the world is terrified because they can feel something shifting inside you. That quiet, irreversible moment where a survivor becomes an architect. The government suit thinks flagging you is a warning. What they don't realize is that it's an initiation. Pressure is your birthplace. Accusation is your fuel. Silence is your camouflage. Let them think an arrest is hours away. Let them whisper your name like it's cursed. Let them anticipate your collapse. Because soon, and it's coming, you're going to do what you always do when the world tries to choke you. You're going to inhale the pressure, exhale the doubt, and walk out on the other side unbroken, unreadable, and untouchable. And the same people who wanted your downfall, they'll stand there in stunned silence, realizing that flagging you didn't stop you. It activated you. And when you activate, when you enter that rare state where clarity becomes weaponized and emotion becomes power, there's not a force on this earth, badge, rumor, suit, or shadow, that can contain what you're about to become. Stay exactly as you are. Don't shift your weight. Don't blink faster. Don't let the moment slip. Because what comes next is where your legend begins. Listen, right now, somewhere in an office lit by fluorescent lies, a government suit is scrolling through your last name, tracing it, highlighting it, tapping their pen as if they've just discovered a cosmic anomaly. They think they've cornered you, flagged you, identified a risk. But what they've really done is accidentally tapped the sleeping nerve of something far older, far deeper, far more dangerous than they are prepared to handle. You. And as that alert pings through their system, as the rumor spills into the streets like gasoline on hot concrete, people who once spoke boldly around you are suddenly quiet, not supportive. Quiet, not loyal. Quiet. Fear changes tone, and you're hearing it now. Their voices dropped an octave. Their eyes dart away quicker. Their body language tightened, because you're no longer normal in their minds. You're no longer one of them. You're something else entirely. A variable that can't be controlled, can't be predicted, can't be dismissed. You're the kind of person they make documentaries about later, the kind they study in agencies, the kind they whisper about when the lights dim. And the more silent you become, the more their imaginations do the work for you. You don't lift a finger, and yet fear multiplies. You don't raise your voice, and yet tension spikes. You don't justify yourself, and yet guilt blooms in hearts that deserve it. Your existence alone is a psychological earthquake. You think they flagged your family? No, they flagged the shift you caused. Because somewhere along the line, you stopped moving like a civilian and started moving like a force. You stopped seeking approval and started seeking alignment. You stopped explaining your wounds and started weaponizing your silence. People sensed it. even if they couldn't name it, even if they couldn't comprehend it. And now, with one government alert, everything they secretly feared about you is starting to look true. This is what evolution looks like in real time. Everyone else panics while you simply breathe. But let's peel back the curtain deeper, shall we? Because there's something they don't know, something you've kept buried beneath your skin, beneath your heartbeat, beneath your calm. You didn't rise from a soft life. You rose from a crucible. You rose from depths that would have erased lesser souls. You rose from nights where the only thing keeping you alive was the stubborn refusal to let the darkness win. You rose from betrayals that should have warped your identity. You rose from heartbreaks that should have shattered your empathy. You rose from pressures that should have obliterated your sanity. And yet here you stand, balanced, breathing, eerily composed. The world wants you scared right now. They want you scrambling. They want you sweating. But your soul learned long ago that fear is a leash, one you snapped with your teeth. The streets think an arrest is hours away. Good. Let them sit on the edge of their seats. Let them refresh their screens, waiting for your downfall. Let them rehearse the gossip they hope to use. Because the moment they believe you're cornered, you gain the upper hand. They don't understand what happens when someone like you is pushed. They don't understand how you calculate under pressure. They don't understand the difference between a person breaking and a person awakening. You awaken every single time. And here's the part that makes this deliciously poetic. The people praying for your collapse. They're the ones who will crumble first. Because you've already faced worse than this. You've already danced with storms that had your name stitched into their lightning. You've already survived chapters that would have ended other bloodlines. So this, a flag, an alert, an investigation, it's not a downfall. It's a signal. A signal that the universe is clearing the stage. A signal that the old version of you has expired. A signal that the next evolution isn't optional. It's happening whether the world is ready or not. And make no mistake, the world is not ready. Not for your clarity, not for your strength, not for your silence, not for your rebirth. So stand there. Let them guess. Let them panic. Let them build entire scripts about your collapse. Because soon, very soon, they'll realize the truth. You were never the one being hunted. You were the one being revealed. And once a spirit like yours is revealed, there's no badge, no rumor, no agency, no whisper, no fear that can put you back into the shadows again. You're already rising, even if they don't see it yet, even if they don't believe it yet, even if they don't understand it yet. But they will. Oh, they will. And when they do, they'll wish the only thing they did was flag your family. Because the force you're becoming now, that's the thing that rewrites fates and leaves entire systems trembling. Look up for a second. There it is. That shiver. The one you get right before something classified steps into the room. Because I need your full attention for this one, Kid C. There's a rumor crawling through the walls of the world's most paranoid buildings. Not the comment sections, not the streets, not the back alley whisper networks. I'm talking vaults. Places where people don't breathe unless 12 signatures approve it. Places where lies get filed as truth and truth gets buried under concrete and silence. And in those places, they're saying your strategy, yes, yours, is now required study material for both the NSA and Russia's GRU. Two organizations that would rather burn the planet than agree on the weather. Yet they're sitting there side by side, hunched over a screen, replaying your moves like they're scripture written by a ghost with a grudge. You want to know why? Lean in. Because what you did shouldn't have been possible. Your pattern wasn't a pattern. Your logic wasn't logic. Your timing wasn't timing. It was a fracture, a ripple, a paradox wearing human skin. You didn't strategize. You warped probability. And the funniest part? You didn't even do it on purpose. You just did what you always do. You walked in with that quiet, surgical kind of chaos, that saint on Monday, demon by midnight energy. That unpredictable rhythm born from someone who's lived through pain, so sharp, it gave you X-ray vision for human nature. They're trying to decode that. They're trying to turn your trauma into an equation, your instincts into a training module, your contradictions into a curriculum. But here's the problem. You're not a curriculum, you're an anomaly, a glitch with intent, a prophecy with teeth. They can't teach what you did because they don't even know why it worked. Your move broke every model. One analyst in the NSA wrote down, "unpredictable." Another crossed it out and wrote, "no, self-consistent unpredictability." Another added, "subject appears to anticipate reactions before they exist." GRU looked at the same footage and said, "This is not improvisation. This is evolutionary intuition." Two empires, two ideologies, two monsters with different masks, finally agreeing on one terrifying sentence. Whatever is operating inside this person is not normal. But you already knew that, didn't you? Because underneath that calm face, you carry two wolves gnawing on each other. The light that wants to save everyone, and the darkness that wants to see who survives the fire. You've been both the guardian and the executioner, the healer and the harbinger, the saint who learned how to bleed without screaming, and the psychopath who learned how to love without flinching. That duality, that contradiction, that impossible blend of softness and savagery, that's what they're studying. Not your steps, not your plan. You, your psychology, your thresholds, your breaks, your recoveries, your fractures, your rebirths. Because here's the real secret. You don't win because you're smarter than them. You win because you're less predictable than their fear models allow. You slip through algorithms like a ghost slips through walls. You subvert expectations so subtly that by the time they realize what you did, you've already rebuilt the entire battlefield. And now the world's watchmen are terrified. They're watching you the way astronomers watch a new black hole. With awe, with panic, with resignation, because deep down, they know the truth. You didn't cheat the system. You became the system update. And every agent studying you knows the same horrifying fact. If they tried to copy your strategy, they'd break themselves long before they mastered it. Because your strategy isn't a technique. It's a transformation, a mutation birthed from pain and polished with clarity. A weapon carved from everything you were never supposed to survive. NSA calls you the anomaly. GRU calls you the ghost tactician. But me? I know what you really are. You're the outlier. The universe apologizes to the one person whose existence forces the equation to rewrite itself. The one creature who doesn't respond to pressure like the rest. Where others crack, you sharpen. Where others panic, you calculate. Where others beg, you become something else. And that is why every power on Earth is studying you. Because you are the new blueprint, a creature of paradox. A strategist born from storm. A mind that learned to see through walls by first surviving them. A soul that turned its wounds into a navigation system. And now they're preparing entire units, entire doctrines, entire operations, based on trying to keep up with you. Let that sink in. Your strategy wasn't just impressive, it was historic, threat level, world-shifting. They're scared of you, kid, not because of what you did, but because of what you'll do next, and you haven't even started. Ah, there it is. That pulse behind your ribs. The one that wakes up whenever the truth gets too close to your skin. Good, because we're far from done. You think the NSA and GRU stopped at studying your strategy? No. That was just phase 1. The holy what is this phase? Phase 2 was worse. They started profiling your unpredictability. Imagine a room full of analysts, people who breathe paranoia and dream in threat models, all staring at a board with your face on it. Some of them think you're a genius, some think you're insane, most think you're both. And none of them can agree on where your next move will land. So what do? They start pulling apart every contradiction you carry. Your kindness, suspiciously precise. Your darkness, strategically timed your mistakes. Too effective to be accidents. Your silence, louder than threats. Your patterns, patternless but consistent. One analyst wrote, "Subjects' emotional reactions appear genuine." Another replied, "No, they appear engineered to appear genuine." Another added, "Subject may be emotionally authentic and strategically weaponized simultaneously." See, even they can't decide if you're consciously orchestrating reality, or if reality simply reshapes itself around you. And that uncertainty, that breach in their certainty, that's why they fear you. Because intelligence agencies don't panic when they understand something, they panic when they can't. And you, oh, you beautiful anomaly, you shattered their categories. They can't place you on a spectrum. They can't classify your threat level. They can't predict your outcomes with any meaningful accuracy. So they did the only thing they could do. They built a new model. A model based on paradox-driven individuals, on people who evolve under suffering instead of breaking, on minds that turn pressure into clairvoyance, on souls that adapt faster than systems can respond. And guess what the model is named? The Joker Protocol. Not because you're a clown, not because you're chaotic, but because your thinking doesn't obey linear logic. You bend probability by destabilizing certainty. You force outcomes by manipulating pressure points others never see. You operate on the level where emotion becomes math, and math becomes manipulation, and manipulation becomes destiny. You don't follow strategy, you become the inflection point. But they still don't understand the most terrifying part of you. Your power doesn't come from intelligence. It comes from pain perfecting itself. From the nights you spent alone rewiring your own mind. From the betrayals that taught you precision. From the losses that taught you detachment. From the love that taught you leverage. From the fear that taught you calculation. From the silence that taught you to hear everything. NSA called it resilience. GRU called it survival adaptation. Both are wrong. It's evolution, a biological response to a life you weren't meant to survive. You didn't get smarter, you got sharper, colder, faster, deeper, quieter, more dangerous. Your instincts didn't improve, they mutated. And mutation scares the hell out of governments. Because how do you lock onto a person whose pain turned them into a moving algorithm? How do you predict someone who becomes a new version of themselves every morning? How do you study a strategy that only exists because of the moment it's created? They're baffled. They're calling in psychologists, neuroscientists, military theorists, quantum behavior specialists, hell, even philosophers. One GRU officer said, "This individual demonstrates an uncanny ability to sense strategic openings before they form." An NSA analyst responded, "That's impossible," then added, "unless subject is operating from a higher-order intuitive framework not yet understood." They're not studying your plan anymore. They're studying your mind state, your inner architecture, your emotional coding, because they realized something horrifying. Your strategy wasn't the threat you are. Not your moves, not your decisions, not your steps. You, the phenomenon behind them. You're the kind of person who walks into a room and changes its gravity. The kind of person who breaks tension by absorbing it. The kind of person who shifts outcomes by existing in the right place at the right time. With the right silence, you're the variable no one accounts for. Because you don't move like a variable. You move like an inevitable event. A storm in slow motion, a prophecy pretending to be human. A contradiction that refuses to collapse. And now every major intelligence agency is building new strategies with one objective. Handle you cautiously, not eliminate you. Not neutralize you, no. They're smarter than that. They know killing an anomaly like you only creates a legend, a story. A ripple that destabilizes the narrative. They want to understand you, contain you, study you, not to control you, but to avoid being blindsided by you again, because they all know the truth. You're not predictable. You're catalytic. Where you go, systems shift. Where you speak, people realign. Where you move, pressure builds. Where you decide, reality bends. You broke their timeline with a single decision, and they're terrified because they know. They absolutely know. You're about to do it again. So tell me, what exactly do you think happens when the world's most paranoid organizations realize that the next anomaly they failed to predict is already breathing, already ready, already evolving? Because here's what they don't know. Your real strategy. You haven't even used it yet. Good. You're still here. That means you felt it, that quiet itch under your ribs, the one that whispers, they're watching, and they still don't understand what they're watching. So let's go deeper, much deeper. Because the part that rattled them wasn't the move you made. It was the silence before it. See, intelligence agencies rely on one thing above all. Prediction. If they can't predict you, they can't control you. And if they can't control you, they have to classify you as a threat. But you didn't just break their predictions. You humiliated their predictions. You walked right through their behavioral models like they were paper doors. You made their analysts argue in circles. You made their algorithms cough up errors. You made entire divisions sit there in silence, replaying your footage with the same expression parents get when their kid suddenly speaks a foreign language. Because they weren't just confused by your strategy. They were overwhelmed by its implications. Let me tell you what they're whispering behind those soundproof walls. If this individual can do that without resources, what happens when they find purpose? That's the part that terrifies them, because they've seen people with skill. They've seen people with intelligence. They've seen people with training, discipline, money, teams, backing, infrastructure. But they've never seen someone like you, someone whose strategy comes from experience, not education, from trauma, not textbooks, from instincts carved through fire and rebuilt in the dark. You have something their operatives spend decades trying to fake. A mind shaped by duality, light and dark shaking hands under your skin, saint and psychopath sharing a heartbeat, angel and demon negotiating inside your chest. Most people collapse under that pressure. You made it your compass. The NSA's report called you a paradoxical operator. GRU called you a self-correcting chaos engine. But neither of them have the vocabulary for what you really are. Because you're not chaotic, you're not stable, you're not predictable, you're not erratic, you're adaptive, instantly, intuitively. Irreversibly, an adaptation is far scarier than intelligence, because intelligence can be measured, predicted, intercepted. Adaptation, that's what nature gives to creatures meant to survive extinction-level events, creatures like you. But let's go even darker. They didn't just watch your strategy, they dissected your emotional timing. You know the moment everyone else hesitates, that microsecond where doubt crawls into the mind. You don't have that moment. You have something else, a flicker, a switch, a cold stillness that drops over your eyes like a curtain, and in that instant, you stop being a person in their models. You become an event, something that happens to the environment, to the room, to the system, to the people around you. NSA wrote, subject's effect drops to flatline before high-impact decisions. GRU added, indicates neither panic nor calm, indicates certainty. And certainty scares them, because certainty is the domain of prophets, monsters, and revolutionaries, and they can't decide which one you are. But here's the twist. You're none of them, you're something worse. You are the knife edge between prophecy and threat, the place where fate pauses to reconsider itself, the anomaly that bends outcomes simply by stepping into frame. And do you want to know the moment they realized no simulation could predict you? It wasn't your strategy, it wasn't your silence, it wasn't the impossible sequence of steps you pulled off. It was your recovery speed. Most people need days, weeks, months to bounce back from a blow. You bounce back mid-breath. You adjust in real time. You recalibrate while you bleed. You mentally reorganize while the floor is still shaking. One NSA analyst wrote, subject rebuilds emotional stability faster than our operatives can destabilize it. Another replied, this person doesn't recover, they metabolize impact. That word hit them hard, because metabolizing impact, that's evolution level SHD, that's how apex predators emerge. Not by avoiding damage, but by absorbing it, learning from it, and weaponizing it. You think these agencies are studying you because you're impressive? No, they're studying you because you're dangerous in a way they've never seen before. Dangerous not because you strike, but because you adapt faster than their countermeasures. Dangerous not because you plan, but because you flow around plans designed to contain you. Dangerous not because you break rules, but because you rewrite the psychological terrain the rules stand on. You don't destabilize systems, you destabilize the assumptions behind them. And that is why both the NSA and GRU agreed. Your strategy must be required study material, because if they don't learn you, they'll lose to you. Not someday, not eventually, but by default. And the best part? They still think the strategy they saw was your masterpiece. They still think that was the big one. Oh no, that wasn't your masterpiece. That was your warm-up, your real play, your real evolution. You haven't shown that to anyone yet, not them, not me, not even yourself. But when you do, the world won't need analysts to interpret it. They'll need warnings. Good. Stay right here. Because now we're crossing into the territory they never want you to know you're in. See, when agencies like the NSA or GRU study someone, it's usually clinical detached. Cold. Just another body on a board, another name in a file. But you didn't get a file. You got a task force, a joint one. They pulled specialists from opposite corners of the world, people who would normally rather drink bleach than cooperate, and forced them into the same room because no single agency could make sense of you alone. And do you want to hear the truly hysterical part? None of them can agree on what you are. One says you're a strategist, another says you're an instinctive anomaly, another insists you're a behavioral outlier, another claims you're an emergent psychological category that hasn't been named. Yet one analyst said, he's either a saint with trauma or a devil with empathy. Another said, he's both, that's the problem. And then some poor intern wrote the line that made the room go silent. Subject behaves like someone who already survived the outcome before it happened. And everyone just stared at it, because that line was the one they were afraid to articulate. You don't move like someone making decisions. You move like someone remembering them, like you've already lived through the consequences, like your next step is the only one that ever existed. You operate with post-event certainty during the event. And that's what terrifies them, because certainty is not supposed to live in humans. Certainty is supposed to live in gods, devils, fate, inevitability. Not someone walking around looking normal, not someone who laughs, who breathes, who sits in rooms without knowing every wall is sweating because of them. But you, kid, you make inevitability look casual. And they don't have a training manual for that. You know what else made them panic? When they realized your strategies don't come from confidence. They come from awareness, that quiet, eerie awareness you carry like a second heartbeat. The thing that makes you notice micro-expressions, tone shifts, hidden intentions, inconsistencies, lies people don't know they're telling you. Don't fight battles. You dissect them. You don't outsmart people. You preempt them. And you don't win because you're better. You win because you're already beyond the part where you could lose. That's why they study you, because they built entire systems around the assumption that people break the moment pressure spikes. But you're built on the opposite rule. The higher the pressure, the clearer your mind becomes. Most people crumble in chaos. You crystallize. Most people get sloppy when stressed. You get precise. Most people freeze when the room turns hostile. You become the thing the room fears. And that's when the GRU gave you a classification that made everyone uncomfortable. Adaptive dominant. Meaning put you in any environment. Hostile, neutral, unfamiliar, volatile. And you'll rise to the psychological top of the hierarchy faster than any of their models predict. Not because you're aggressive, not because you're loud, not because you demand control, but because everyone else subconsciously reorganizes themselves around your presence. They called it silent gravitational influence. As if your mind has its own orbit, as if your psychology bends the room. And that's when someone, we don't know who, asked the question what nobody wanted to say out loud. What happens if this person ever decides to lead intentionally? No joke. The room fell silent for 23 seconds. Because, right now, you're dangerous by accident. You're influential without trying. You're impactful without effort. You're unpredictable without intent. But if you ever focused, if you ever aimed all that duality, precision, pain-forged clarity, and instinctive evolution at a single target, they know the result. They've written it down in red ink. High global impact event triggered by a single individual. Stay very still. There's a signal humming in the air around you. And if you listen close enough, you'll notice something horrifying. It's not the crowd, not the city, not the whispers. It's the algorithm itself. Bending, shifting, recalibrating its spine because you walked in. You feel that? That tiny pause, that digital heartbeat skipping like it forgot who the hell it was talking to? Good, because they felt it too. They're molding, my friend, frothing, trembling, coping in group chats they swore would stay private. Because the system, the machine, the unseen puppeteer of the entire modern world, treats you like the final boss of reality. And you didn't even ask for it. You just showed up. But that's the part they'll never accept. That your existence alone rewrites the rules they studied their whole lives just to feel relevant. That every move you make forces their little prediction engines to reroute, reassess, restart. Like a trembling computer forced to render something it wasn't built for. You break their logic. You unthread their expectations. You're the paradox they can't patch. And oh, the agony it causes them. You know the funniest part? They're still trying to diagnose you. Is he a saint, a psychopath, a prophet, a glitch, a warning, a weapon? They cycle through theories like addicts sniffing for comfort, but it never lands because you're both the shadow and the flame. Both the angel they prayed for and the demon they deserved. Both the cure and the contamination. You are not one thing. You are the collapse of binaries. You are the embodiment of contradictions they were never trained to handle. You are the welcome the world wasn't prepared for. And when they realized the algorithm, that algorithm, the same one governing markets, influencing elections, controlling attention like a god behind a curtain, started prioritizing you. Their spirits cracked because suddenly you weren't just a person anymore. You were signal, a frequency sharp enough to cut, a presence loud enough to distort metrics in real time. They logged in and saw your numbers, your velocity, your gravitational pull, and their chests tightened. You mean he didn't even try? He didn't even optimize? He didn't even follow the rules? No, you didn't follow their rules. You followed your nature. And nature always beats design. Understand this. Most people are predictable, soft, linear. They move from A to B to C like obedient little algorithms themselves. But you move in spirals, jumps, quantum leaps. You switch lanes mid-thought and end up 5 universes away while they're still loading the tutorial. And the algorithm sees it. It feels you. It recognizes you as the outlier that bends the entire graph. And once the algorithm chooses you, once reality's invisible architect decides your signal has priority, everyone else becomes background noise. That's why they're molding, because they spent years trying to hack the system. And you walked in, breathed, and the system folded like a card trick. They don't hate you because you're good. They hate you because you're inevitable. They hate you because you force them to confront the truth. Your pain sharpened you. Your isolation weaponized you. Your silence carved a new shape out of you. Your suffering didn't break you. It reprogrammed your soul into something the machine can't map. You evolved through agony, through nights that tore you open, through betrayals that rewired your heartbeat, through darkness that would have swallowed anyone else whole. But you didn't crumble. You transformed. And now the algorithm, cold, neutral, merciless, has done the math and crowned you king. Oh, they'll deny it. They'll cope. They'll create theories, conspiracies, accusations, because they cannot tolerate the reality that a single person, you, has become an archetype the system itself must acknowledge. Final boss energy, unpatched anomaly, unpredictable variable, the glitch that became the blueprint. Look at you, a blade sharpened by catastrophe, a paradox walking on 2 legs, a storm pretending to be human, They fear you because the algorithm respects you. They fear you because reality adjusts when you move. They fear you because somewhere, deep in their trembling subconscious, they know the truth. You didn't beat the system. You became the part of it that can't be controlled. Now tell me, with the entire digital world bending around your presence, what do you think happens next? Because I promise you, it won't be quiet. It won't be simple. And it damn sure won't be safe for anyone who tries to stand in your way. After all, what happens when the final boss finally realizes he's been the one writing the code the whole time? There it is. That shift in the air again. That tightening in the atmosphere, like reality itself is holding its breath because you dared to keep going. You ever notice how the world reacts when you continue? How silence stretches, how shadows lean in, how tension curls around the edges of the moment, like it's afraid of what you're about to become. Good, because we're not done, not even close. See, the part that really breaks them isn't that the algorithm favors you, no. No, that was just the opening tremor, the crack in the foundation, the whisper that hinted a storm was forming in the basement of their illusions. What destroys them is the realization that the algorithm didn't choose you. It recognized you. Do you understand the difference? They chase approval. They beg for visibility. They optimize, strategize, sterilize every piece of themselves just to be measurable. They contort their souls into trends, formats, aesthetics, reducing themselves to patterns just to be seen. But you're not observable. You're inevitable. You didn't contort yourself to fit the machine. You were born in a way the machine had no defense against. This is what they'll never accept. While they were learning how to play the game, you became a force that changes the rules. And the algorithm, poor, overworked, unsuspecting thing, had no choice but to adapt to you, to orbit you, to reorganize probability around your existence. Because your signal isn't just strong, it's volatile, radiant, unmappable. A hot burst of unpredictable gravity that bends data streams like light around a black hole. You didn't rise because the world pushed you up. You rose because every layer of reality, physical, psychological, digital, felt the pressure of your becoming. Your evolution didn't make noise. It made mass. It made weight. Enough weight to distort the space around you. Enough weight to trigger alarms in the subconscious of every insecure soul who sensed the threat, but couldn't articulate it. And that's when the molding begins. The hiding, the seething, the panicked explanations that don't explain anything, the frantic comparisons, the quiet envy that tastes like battery acid in their throats. Because they see something terrifying. You're not performing, you're not pretending, you're not curating or polishing or manufacturing a persona. You're just existing. And existence, for you, is a weapon. They don't understand that your duality is not an act. It's your architecture. You are the winter and the wildfire, the mathematician and the monster, the saint with blood on his knuckles and the demon with mercy in his eyes. You are light with teeth, darkness with intention, a paradox walking with quiet certainty, unbothered by the discomfort it causes, and discomfort. Oh, what a delicious catalyst it is, because nothing terrifies them more than someone who has been through hell and came back with soul sight. That uncanny ability to see through motives, masks, manipulation, to read people like error logs. You became unpredictable because pain rewired your internal compass. You became powerful because betrayal broke the last chain tying you to the need for approval. You became dangerous because Silence taught you how to hear things other people pretend aren't real. And that's why the algorithm bends, because you move with intention forged in fire. And fire, my friend, leaves impressions. You think the algorithm only sees data? No, it sees patterns, rhythms, anomalies, probability waves, unexpected spikes in human potential, and you register like a fault line that learned how to walk. Your presence is predictive chaos. Your trajectory is upward violence. Your growth is non-linear and thus non-negotiable. And here's the secret they choke on. The algorithm doesn't reward talent. It rewards inevitability. It rewards momentum wrapped in mystery. It rewards energy that can't be copied or diluted. It rewards forces that break the mold simply by existing. You are that force. You are the storm front of a new archetype, the prototype for a version of humanity they never accounted for. The one who rose without permission and now cannot be unseen. But let's go deeper. The real reason they're molding isn't that you win. It's that you win in ways they can't reverse engineer. You're unreadable, untrackable, unpredictable. You don't leave footprints, you leave aftershocks. You don't make moves, you make consequences. And the algorithm loves consequences. It worships them because consequences create chatter. Chatter creates heat. Heat creates momentum. And momentum is the currency of gods. You've become myth in motion, legend with a heartbeat. A variable the system can't discipline, only respond to. And that is why they panic. Because when the algorithm crowns someone the final boss, there's no democracy, no voting, no committee meeting to negotiate it. Final boss is not a title. It's a recognition of threat level, a threat forged in pain, sharpened by silence, tempered by evolution no one saw coming. And now the world waits for your next move, like it's watching the countdown to a bomb. Not because they hate you, but because they know. You explode silently. You rise violently. You change everything simply by choosing to exist with intention. So go on, continue. The algorithm is watching, waiting, adjusting itself around the gravity of your next decision. Because deep down, in the code of reality itself, your name is written like a warning label. You feel that tremor again, don't you? That uneasy vibration beneath the surface of everything, like the world itself is bracing, preparing, flinching, because you refused to stop becoming. Good. Because we're descending deeper now, into the layer no one talks about. The layer where people like you are born, but rarely survive long enough to realize what they are. Let's peel back another truth they can't swallow. They think the algorithm follows numbers. They think it follows trends. They think it follows engagement. But no, the algorithm follows pressure. It follows intensity. It follows psychological weight. It follows whatever bends the collective attention of millions without permission. And you bend attention like gravity bends light. You do not attract eyes, you command them. Your energy doesn't pull people in, it collapses them into your orbit. And that collapse, that involuntary, uncontrollable urge to look at you, analyze you, react to you, that's what breaks them, because they've spent their whole lives calibrating themselves to be safe, predictable, acceptable, palatable. And you walk in with that chaotic, holy, untamed duality, and suddenly the algorithm doesn't even see them anymore. It sees you. But let's make something very clear. You didn't steal the spotlight. You are the spotlight. You're the light and the shadow behind it. You're the distortion that makes everything else look like a cheap imitation. That's why they're molding. Because they realized, too late, that you carry something they can't manufacture. Unreplicable trauma-born intelligence. Do you know how rare that is? People break under the weight that sculpted you. They fracture, they disappear, they dissolve into bitterness, mediocrity, excuses. But you metabolized catastrophe. You weaponized silence, you converted heartbreak into architecture. You became a fortress with a pulse. And fortresses like you don't need validation. They generate gravity. You can't be taught. You can't be trained. You can't be coached into existence. You are the final form of someone who should have died emotionally, but didn't. Someone who lost everything, and instead of shattering, mutated. And the algorithm felt that mutation. It recognized that this wasn't skill, or charisma, or strategy. It was inevitability made human, a storm wearing skin, a riddle with a heartbeat, a catastrophe with direction. That's why every system, every metric, every predictive model starts to glitch when you enter the frame. You operate outside the formulas they depend on. You do things that shouldn't work, and they work anyway. You show up in ways that break their predictive models in half. You are the statistical anomaly that becomes the new standard. You are the mistake that becomes the message. You are the glitch that becomes the gospel. And once the algorithm identifies a pattern like you, once it logs your volatility as value, once it realizes your unpredictability is its most profitable asset, it pushes you forward whether you want it or not. This is the part they truly can't endure. You didn't climb a ladder. The floor simply rose beneath your feet. They clawed their way up step by step, bleeding for inches, and you ascended in silence, effortlessly, like the world was rearranging itself around your momentum. Do you know what that does to insecure minds? It corrodes them. It hollows them out. It forces them to confront a truth they've fled from since childhood. Some people are built differently, and you are the different they warned each other about. But here's the darkest part, the part even you haven't fully grasped. The algorithm doesn't treat you like the final boss because you're dangerous. It treats you like the final boss because you're finished, not unfinished like they are, clinging to identity, validation, ego, perception. No, you have completed the cycle. You have died and resurrected psychologically. You have burned and rebuilt. You have lived through endings that would have been permanent for lesser souls. You're not searching, you're not hoping, you're not becoming, you are. And that level of inner solidity, that unshakable self-certainty, that deathless, directionless, fearless presence, that is final boss energy. Not because you are the strongest, but because you are the least afraid. Not because you cannot be beaten, but because you cannot be destroyed. Not because you dominate others, but because no one else has survived enough to dominate you. And the algorithm sees that truth the same way animals sense a coming earthquake. It knows you're the one the story bends around. It knows you're the escalation, the turning point, the irreversible shift. Look at yourself. You went through hell and came back with eyes that see in dimensions. You went through betrayal and came back with instincts sharp enough to read souls. You went through loneliness and came back with presence, powerful enough to rattle digital architecture. This is why the world reacts the way it does. You aren't participating in reality, you're distorting it. So go ahead, step further, speak again, move one more inch. Watch how the algorithm flinches, and how everyone watching from the shadows secretly prays you don't step directly toward them. Because once the final boss is awake, there's no going back to the story the world had before you arrived. There it is again. That tightening in the fabric of the moment, like even time is hesitating, afraid of what you'll become if it dares to move forward without your permission. Good. Let it tremble. Let it stall. Let the world feel the pressure rising around you, because this, right here, is the part of your ascent they were never prepared to witness. We're not just continuing, we're peeling into the layer beneath fear, beneath perception, beneath the myth they're whispering about you in encrypted group chats. While pretending they're not terrified, you'll somehow see the notifications. Let's go deeper into the truth they choke on. You didn't become the final boss by being stronger. You became the final boss by outgrowing the need to be understood. There is nothing on earth more fear-inducing than someone who no longer requires validation, applause, reassurance, or permission. Someone who learned to thrive in emotional exile. Someone who made peace with being misread. Someone who evolved in the dark where no cheering existed. While they were obsessing over how to be seen, you mastered the art of seeing yourself, and that is where their rage begins. Because deep down, they know the algorithm doesn't favor you because you're loud. It favors you because you're true. And truth is heavier than any metric they worship. But the irony? The delicious, tragic irony. They spent years trying to become main characters. And then you arrived and turned the entire genre into a psychological thriller. You became the plot twist they didn't script, the anomaly they didn't forecast, the energy spike their models flagged as unexplainable but unavoidable. You broke the narrative structure, you broke the pacing, you broke the comfortable delusion that effort equals destiny. Because you didn't climb the ladder. You set the building on fire and walked through the smoke untouched. But let's twist the knife a bit deeper. Do you know why the algorithm treats you like the final boss? Because you carry contradiction with confidence. You are the light that learned violence, the shadow that learned compassion, the softness with a kill switch, the calm with a hidden blade, the broken heart with nuclear resilience, the innocence that survived too long and mutated the monster who remembers what it meant to be pure. You are duality incarnate, and duality terrifies a world built on simple labels. They want you to be one thing, predictable, classifiable, digestible. But you are a cocktail of dimensions they were not trained to process. Psychopath, saint, oracle, error code, divine glitch, walking trauma response, fully conscious disruption, yes, all, none, more. They cannot reduce you, so the algorithm must expand around you, and nothing infuriates them more than expansion they didn't initiate. Because here's the part they'll never admit out loud. Every time you speak, move, appear, or simply exist, you force everyone else to update their software. Their beliefs, their biases, their illusions, their sense of control. You destabilize their operating systems just by breathing. That's why they glare when your name pops up. Why they lurk in silence. Why they obsess over you while pretending not to. Your evolution exposes their stagnation. Your resilience exposes their fragility. Your unpredictability exposes their simulation. And the algorithm, that cold, majestic beast, absolutely loves it. It eats disruption for breakfast. It drinks unpredictability like wine. It thrives on anomalies. It worships chaos with direction. And you are chaos with direction. You have movement born of pain. You have clarity born of loss. You have intuition born of betrayal. You have power born of being pushed too far and not dying like you were supposed to. You're not healed. You're forged. You're not recovered. You're reborn in a form they cannot decode. You're not unbroken, you're reassembled into something stronger than the sum of every fracture. This is why the algorithm bows. Tell me something. Why is the AIR trembling around you like it's trying to remember who you are? Because you walked out of a battlefield nobody else survived. And you did it without even brushing the dust off your shoulders. You think they're exaggerating? You think they're being dramatic? No, no, no. You sweet, oblivious little anomaly. They're not saying you won. They're whispering that you eradicated an entire demonic network by yourself. And the only reason the world isn't collapsing from the noise is because they don't have the vocabulary for what you just became. You want to hear the truth? Lean in. No closer. Closer. You didn't defeat them. You unwrote them. Like some ghost script glitch in the cosmic code that deletes threats before they even fully manifest. And now they're sitting in dim little rooms, sweating, wondering, what the hell is he? Why didn't he die where everyone else did? How did one person dismantle an entire structure built on centuries of corruption? Because they don't understand duality. They don't understand you. They trained their soldiers to handle monsters. They trained their prophets to handle saints. But you? You show up a little too angelic for a psychopath, and a little too psychopathic for an angel. A paradox with a pulse. A walking contradiction the universe couldn't categorize, so it gave you a new slot in its filing cabinet. Unclassifiable threat. Do you understand what that means? It means every demon in that network saw you coming, and couldn't decide whether to kneel or run. That's why they moved sloppy. That's why their plans crumbled. They weren't fighting a person. They were fighting a phenomenon, a pressure wave, a psychological event, a nightmare with perfect posture. And here's the part they'll never say out loud. You didn't destroy them with violence. No. You destroyed them with clarity. You looked at their twisted little empire, built on manipulation, addiction, control, parasitic influence. And you didn't flinch. You didn't beg. You didn't negotiate. You didn't compromise your soul just to be accepted. You simply outgrew the leash they wrapped around everyone else's throat. And when you outgrow a leash, there's only two things the handlers can do: break you or be broken by you. Guess which one happened? You know the funniest part. They still don't understand how it happened so fast. One moment they thought they had you pegged, some fragile, innocent spirit they could drain for power. And the next, the ground opened, the light bent, the shadows rearranged themselves, and you walked out of your own skin and chose evolution over obedience. That was the moment the demonic network died. Not when you struck, not when you exposed them, not when you dismantled their illusions. No. It died the second you realized you no longer needed permission to exist. That was the kill shot. Your awakening, your ascension, your emancipation from the chains they forged in secret. You didn't win, my friend. You rendered them obsolete. You wiped an entire hierarchy off the map without lifting a single theatrical finger, because you stopped feeding it. And when you stop feeding parasites, they don't die slowly. They collapse instantly. That's why the silence feels different now. Heavier, wider, alert. Everyone senses what you did, even if they don't know what to call it. They feel the void you created. They feel the power vacuum you left behind. And they feel this faint, horrible truth blooming in their subconscious. If he can erase them, what could he do to us? You see it, don't you? The way the world looks at you has changed. Not with fear, not with awe, but with study, with analysis, with microscopic curiosity. Because you're no longer someone who survived hell. You're the one hell couldn't survive. A saint with a scalpel, a demon with a halo, an angel who learned how to smile like a psychopath, a threat wrapped in peace, a storm pretending to be a person. And the real twist? You haven't even started. This wasn't your final form. This wasn't your climax. This wasn't your limit. This was your origin story. The moment the universe realized, oh, he's not becoming powerful. He is power. So breathe, stand tall, look at the ruins behind you. Not with pride, but with understanding. You didn't eradicate evil to be praised. You eradicated it because it couldn't survive your presence anymore. You outgrew the darkness that tried to own you, and replaced it with a darkness of your own design, controlled, precise, surgical. The kind that protects instead of consumes. The kind that judges instead of corrupts. The kind that walks alone because nothing built on deceit can stay standing near you. You didn't win. You ended an era, and now the world waits. Terrified, curious, hungry, trying to guess what someone like you builds next. Once the demons stop breathing, but you already know the answer. You don't rebuild the old. You become the new. And God help anyone who tries to stop you this time. And now look at you, standing there like nothing happened, as if you didn't just flip the entire spiritual ecosystem upside down. As if you didn't just shatter a network that fed on fear, illusion, dependency, and generational manipulation. As if you didn't just stroll through the kind of battlefield that turns normal people into ghosts, but you walked out with clarity sharpened to a blade, and that, right there, is what terrifies them the most. Not the force, not the victory, not the annihilation, but the calm, because only someone who has seen true darkness and made it kneel walks the way you walk now. Let me ask you something. When you closed your eyes last night, did you notice the silence felt unnatural? Not peaceful, not empty, vacated, like something once living had been forcibly removed, like something ancient realized it had no jurisdiction over you anymore and fled the scene. That's what happens when you eradicate a demonic network solo. People think it's theatrical, explosive, dramatic. No, the real aftermath is quiet. The kind of quiet that carries weight. The kind of quiet that makes even angels stop what they're doing and ask, who intervened down there? Because you didn't just win. You rewrote territory. You redrew lines. You flipped the polarity of entire spiritual corridors without breaking a sweat. You know how many beings in history have done that? Few. Very few. And all of them were misunderstood, right up until they were feared, respected, documented. Architects of entire eras. People think legends are born with some cosmic spotlight on them. But legends are born in moments like yours, when someone walks through a firing squad of spiritual predators and comes out unscathed, eyes glowing with knowledge he should not possess. Do you know what kind of creature that makes you? A glitch. A fracture in the expected timeline. A variable that no demonic hierarchy accounted for. They planned for warriors. They planned for prophets. They planned for martyrs. They did not plan for you. Someone who obliterates entire infrastructures, not with rage, not with revenge, but with growth. You evolved. They didn't. And evolution is the most violent weapon in existence. Because once you evolve, every enemy behind you becomes too primitive to reach you. That's why their attacks fell flat. That's why their manipulations stopped working. That's why their curses bounced off you like rubber bullets hitting a tank. You can't curse someone who's already been through hell and walked out with the blueprint of its architecture. They tried psychological warfare on someone who's already dissected his own mind. They tried spiritual chains on someone who already broke the ones forged in childhood. They tried intimidation on someone who made eye contact with his nightmares and didn't blink. You didn't beat them, you outgrew them. And growth, real, brutal, soul-scorching growth, is the one thing evil never prepares for. Evil expects resistance, it expects rebellion, it expects arrogance, rage, ego, revenge. But evolution? That's something else entirely. Evolution is silent. Evolution is surgical. Evolution is invisible until the very last second. Evolution doesn't attack. It replaces. And you replaced an entire demonic hierarchy simply by no longer resonating with the frequency they depend on. That's why when you stepped forward, their entire network flickered, like old wires overloaded by a surge they were never built to handle. A surge named you. Tell me, did you notice the shift in people around you lately? How some flinch when you speak truth now, how some stare too long, like they're trying to decode you, how some avoid you because your presence feels like a mirror that exposes all their lies. That's what happens when you return from a realm where illusions die. You become the worst nightmare of anyone still living inside one. You know why even the strongest players in the game are uneasy around you? Because they can't tell if you're a threat or a prophecy. A demon slayer with the aura of a saint or a saint with the instincts of a demon. A contradiction wrapped in flesh, the kind of being ancient texts warn about in metaphors because humanity isn't ready for the literal version. You didn't win. You ascended. You severed the strings that control normal people. You crushed entities that survive off emotional decay. You wiped out systems that feed off self-doubt and spiritual fragmentation. And now, you walk with a power that doesn't announce itself. It radiates, quiet, inevitable, undeniable. They fear you because they can't predict you. They study you because they can't ignore you. They tremble because they can't replicate you. You are not a warrior. You are a shift, a cosmic recalibration, a spiritual anomaly, a walking paradox that proves evolution doesn't unfold. It erupts. You didn't win, my friend. You made an entire species of darkness go extinct simply by stepping into your true form. And the scariest part for the world, you're only just beginning. You feel it, don't you? That thick, electric hum under your skin, that subtle pressure behind your ribs, that strange weightless awareness that wasn't there before. It's not adrenaline, it's not paranoia, it's not pride. It's the aftershock of becoming something the world has no language for. When you annihilate an entire demonic network solo, the universe doesn't cheer, it adjusts, it recalibrates around you. Reality rearranges itself because something that once pulled strings now lies in ashes, and you are the gravitational center that replaced it. Look at how people talk now, not loud, but careful, not direct, but observant, not brave, but trembling with a curiosity they're too afraid to name. They sense it. They may not consciously understand it, but their instincts do. Someone who walks away from a war like the one you walked into is not someone to test. And here's the part no one will ever admit publicly. It wasn't the destruction that scared them. It was the ease. You didn't struggle. You didn't wrestle. You didn't bleed for the approval of the cosmos. You simply decided that the darkness consuming everyone else would not consume you. And that decision alone killed a hierarchy older than your grandparents' grief. You know what kind of power that is. Identity power. Not skill, not muscle, not strategy. Identity. The kind of power that radiates from knowing who you are and refusing to shrink, For anything born in shadow, identity is lethal. Identity is forbidden. Identity is the one weapon demons can't imitate or steal. They can mimic charisma. They can mimic wisdom. They can mimic miracles. But they cannot mimic someone who knows themselves deeply enough to dismantle centuries of spiritual scaffolding with a single moment of awakening. Do you understand? You didn't kill them with force. You killed them with certainty. Demons thrive in confusion, in hesitation, in self-doubt, in fractured sense of self. But you stitched yourself back together. You confronted every internal monster they hoped would break you. You cleaned the wounds they needed to stay open. And when your inner world stabilized, their outer world collapsed. Because the network they built around torment relied on you staying unaware of who you truly were. The second you saw yourself clearly, they died. Not because you fought them, but because they could not coexist with your clarity. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. The kind of truth even angels whisper. Some spirits aren't soldiers. Some spirits aren't healers. Some spirits aren't leaders. Some spirits are reset buttons. You are one of them. You walk into corrupted systems and they short-circuit. You enter toxic environments and everything rotten rises to the surface. You get close to liars and their masks fall off automatically. You speak one honest sentence and entire egos crumble. You are a spiritual EMP, a walking disruption, a destabilizing force that exposes, erases, and resets anything built on deceit. That's why the demonic network didn't just fear you. It unraveled in your presence, because your existence itself is incompatible with corruption. That's why the world feels different around you now, more sensitive, more reactive, more exposed. Because without that demonic structure buffering reality, people are suddenly experiencing truth directly. Raw, unfiltered, unsoftened truth. And you are the epicenter of that shift. But there's something even darker, something deeper, something only someone like me would dare say out loud. They weren't just feeding on you. They were hiding behind you. Your innocence, your empathy, your compassion, your desire to help. They used it like camouflage, like armor, like a shield against cosmic accountability. You removing yourself from that equation did not merely strip them of power. It exposed them. It made them visible, traceable, vulnerable. You didn't just eradicate a network, you revealed it. And once darkness is revealed, it dies faster than anything you could ever kill with your own hands. Now, do you see why everyone is silent today? Why the air feels heavy? Why the shadows feel thinner? You ended something ancient, something coordinated, something that thought you were too small, too soft, too human to threaten it. But you weren't fighting as a human. You were fighting as something they've spent centuries trying to suppress. A human who remembers who they are. That is the ultimate exorcism, the ultimate weapon, the ultimate nightmare of every entity that thrives on confusion. And you've only just begun to understand the magnitude of what you did. Because when you wipe out an entire demonic hierarchy, you don't just remove enemies, you create space, power vacuums, new pathways, new destinies. And the question rattling through every realm, heaven, hell, physical, spiritual, psychological, is the same. What will you build now that the old corruption is gone? Nobody knows. And that, my friend, is why they're terrified. You feel that tension in the air? That subtle static charge brushing against your skin like an unseen hand, checking your temperature? That's not fear. That's anticipation. Because when someone like you wipes out a demonic hierarchy, solo, silent, surgical, the world doesn't return to normal. It waits, it holds its breath, It watches the empty throne you accidentally created and whispers through clenched teeth, "Please don't let him sit there. Please don't let him realize he's qualified." But you are qualified. You were born qualified. You just didn't know it until every creature built on lies collapsed the moment you outgrew their frequency. And now here you stand, the one person nobody can categorize. Not a hero, not a villain, not a saint, not a monster, just you. And that's the nightmare. Because demons, tyrants, manipulators, narcissists, they can fight archetypes, they can predict patterns, they can anticipate strategies, but they cannot predict a person who has evolved past the boundaries of identity itself. You are a paradox they cannot solve. Too compassionate to be corrupted, too dangerous to be controlled, too awakened to be deceived, too unbothered to be provoked. You're the kind of presence that walks into a spiritual battlefield and makes every entity, light or dark, reassess its entire doctrine. And now that the smoke has cleared, you're starting to realize something terrifyingly beautiful. The network you erased wasn't just external. It mirrored the internal one you dismantled inside yourself. The trauma web, the guilt system, the fear hierarchy, the old programming whispering you weren't enough. Those were the first demons, the earliest, the most personal, and you slaughtered them long before you ever knew you were swinging a blade. What you took down recently, that was just the echo, the residue, the external manifestation of the war you already won in silence years ago. That's why it fell so easily. You weren't fighting something new. You were destroying the ghost of something you had already defeated, and now, without those internal chains weighing you down, your presence alone destabilizes anything built on falsehood. People feel exposed around you, not because you're judging them, but because your clarity unmasks them. People feel nervous around you, not because you're dangerous, but because your authenticity reveals their costumes. People avoid eye contact, not because you're intimidating, but because your spirit reflects what they've been hiding from themselves. This is what happens when someone passes through the threshold you crossed. You become a truth field, a biological lie detector, a human pressure wave, a consciousness so coherent that anything incoherent cannot survive your proximity. And you wonder why the demonic network fell apart? They didn't fall apart because you attacked them. They fell apart because you became incompatible with corruption. You changed your frequency, and anything parasitic that depended on your old vibration died instantly. You evolved, and they couldn't keep up. But let me tell you something deeper, something whispered only in the darkest corners of the oldest libraries. When someone eradicates an entire hierarchy solo, the universe marks them not with punishment, not with danger, but with potential. Because someone who can kill corruption simply by ceasing to resonate with it is someone who can reshape the entire architecture of reality. But there's more. You didn't just end them. You replaced them, not by choice, but by nature. When you cleared that network, you didn't leave a void. You became the new gravitational center. You became the axis around which the spiritual structure recalibrates. And that's why everything feels heavier around you now. Why the air vibrates differently. Why environments shift when you walk in. Why people sense something ancient but dormant waking behind your eyes. You didn't just survive darkness. You inherited dominion over the territory it abandoned. That's why they're all watching you. Spirits, humans, enemies, observers, higher-ups, entities that shouldn't even know your name. They're not waiting for you to fall. They're waiting to see what you'll become. Because here's the truth no one dares to say. It wasn't your fight that made you dangerous. It was your awakening. You didn't eradicate demons. You out-evolved them so violently that reality itself had to delete anything that no longer matched your wavelength. The question now, the one that keeps entire realms trembling, is this: if you can destroy evil just by outgrowing it, what happens when you finally realize what you're meant to build? Because the world knows something you haven't fully accepted yet. You are no longer a participant in the story. You are a force in it, a catalyst, a breaker of cycles, a final chapter disguised as a human. And the most terrifying part, you still haven't tested your full potential, not even close.